Alright, good afternoon. This is Scott from Canteen Cup. Welcome to the site. Hope everybody's doing well. This is take number 3. Hopefully this will be the last take. This is wearing me out. I had to move the camera closer, so I had to quit getting up and down. I'm getting tired of this, but there's a couple things I wanted to talk about. I had a couple additional comments on Viking Training Task 4, and I want to talk a little bit about first aid. And so my other video went kind of long, and so I broke it up into 2 videos because once that video gets beyond like 20 minutes, I don't trust it. It seems to crash on me, and I did not want to repeat 20-minute videos. So here we go. First thing about Viking Training Task 4, I won't be participating this year, or this particular task, at least not right now because I'm in the middle of a move, but I have been thinking a lot about what he said, and there's a lot of things he said that really made sense. And one of the things I'm going to do once I get resettled in back to my new digs, which hopefully will be a month or month and a half from now, is I'm going to go back through my kit, my bug out bag, and I'm going to pare it down to the bare minimums. You know, we have a habit of packing for comfort, and you know, this isn't about comfort, and so I'm sure there are things I can go back through and take out. You know, the idea of this kit is to just kind of get by, and that's really what I want to do. So I'm going to go back through it and kind of cut things out. And if I don't cut them out, I'm going to repackage them a little bit. Like I said, you know, my idea of bugging out is loading up my truck and driving it as far as I can, hopefully making it to my bug out location. But if I can't, and I have to put my backpack on, I have to be able to finish the journey. And while I have carried heavy packs in my youth, not so much anymore. It's just how life goes sometimes. So one of the things I am considering doing is, you know, really making a real bug out bag. And by that I mean have just enough stuff to get from point A to point B. In other words, get to wherever I stop and make it to my bug out location. And that's a different mindset than a, you know, bug out bag survival type thing, you know, where you're actually thinking about 2 different things. And so what I might do is recompartmentalize my bug out bag and divide it to stuff I need to bug out, going to a known location that's a fairly known distance away, to, you know, having an additional kit that might mean that I might not be able to go to my bug out location, so I may have to go to my contingency location, which may be much further away, or my emergency, which might mean, you know, going to a spike camp somewhere or something. I don't know, just whatever the plan is. So what I might do is compartmentalize myself, where if I know I can make it to my bug out location, I can take stuff out to make sure I get there faster, you know, lighter weight, move faster. Whereas if I am, you know, if I'm going out into the big divide, then I may have to carry a little more weight, travel a little slower. And so those are things that I have to consider. So once I get to my new digs, I'm going to take it out, I'm going to go through everything. I'm going to weigh, my scale is in a box somewhere between here and my storage unit. I don't know, it'll show up when I get unpacked. And so, but then I can start kind of looking at things. Because when you start talking about, you know, a pistol belt with a pistol and magazines, load-bearing vests or load-bearing equipment, chest rigs, plates, rifles, that's a lot of weight. You know, and you can sit there and say, oh, well, it's a rifle, I carry it in my hands. Well, your feet are carrying it all, and your legs, and your knees, and your hips. And so all that matters. And so what you really have to decide is what is really important. And that's something that I'm going to evaluate again once I get to that point. When I get to my new location, I can really look at. But I really wanted to say that While I'm not actually going to do the walk this time around, I walk with weight on a regular basis. It's still I still have a lot of consideration going on about what I want to do, and I appreciate biking preparedness for getting me thinking about things that I should normally be thinking about. So that being said, I kind of want to switch gears a little bit and talk a little bit about first aid, because that's kind of a subject that kind of comes up and goes down and whatever, and I've kind of touched on it here and there. And one of the things I want to talk about is economy of first aid. We spend a lot of money on a lot of different things, and I realize that, and I'm trying to cut back on the things I do, because sometimes we spend too much money on the one thing because it was really, really cool, when we could have spent the same amount of money and gotten much more of something that could be used a lot more. And kind of a loose example I'll give, it's not an exact example, but a lot of people want to buy the quick clot, the hemostatic dressings, and they're great, but they're expensive. I think the cheapest one I found is like $20. And so that's a lot of money when you can buy several boxes of roller gauze. And what I mean by roller gauze is just gauze that's rolled up into a little round ball, and you could buy a couple boxes for that money. And the thing about roller gauze, it is so versatile. You can use it as a dressing, you can use it as a packing, you can use it as a bandage. Couple that with a SWAT T tourniquet, which is nothing but like a big rubber band, and depending on how tight you wrap it, it gives you instructions on how to tell the difference. You can either have a compression bandage or you can have a tourniquet. So you can take a couple of those and mix and match that, and you have a kit that can do a lot of things, treat a lot of different wounds for almost the same price of one hemostatic clotting agent. Now, don't get me wrong, they're great, but when you're talking about putting stuff away for a time when there won't be pharmacies or drugstores, whatever you want to call them, then you need to think sometimes quantity is better than quality. And so if you think along the things of roller gauze, like I said, these SWAT Ts, they're about, I think you can get from 10 or 11 bucks versus 30 bucks for a soft tee or a cat. They're $30-something. You can buy 3 of those SWAT Ts. You can buy triangular bandages, which also can make a tourniquet. Not as good as the new stuff, but man, you can get those like dirt cheap. They're like $1 or $2 a pop, and so that's a lot that you can stuff in your kit. I have a trauma kit in my truck, and it really has triangular bandages, it has roller gauze, it has a couple of Israeli type dressings in there, and it has a couple of tourniquets, mainly like the SWAT T type. So I can treat a lot of different wounds a lot of different ways, and be able to do more than if I bought like the big ticket items. I'd have fewer, but this way I could still treat a lot of different people. So it's something to consider in your first aid kits. And then the last thing I want to talk about is something I discovered a little while back, but it's called a combat wound pack. And what it is, it's a combination of 3 pills. And hey, dogs. And it was designed for the Special Forces community. And what it was is there's 3 pills. It has an analgesic called Mobic or Melexicam. It has a painkiller, Tylenol or acetaminophen, and then it has a broad spectrum antibiotic, and I have to look at this. It is moxifloxacin or Avelox, and that's a broad spectrum antibiotic. And the idea behind that is if a soldier is out in the field and he injures himself and he has to continue the mission, he takes one of these packs and takes the contents with water after he treats the injury or the wound. And what that'll do, that'll give him some comfort and give him a little bit of prophylaxis from infection, so that he can continue his mission, and in hopes that pack will last him until he gets back to where he can be treated properly. And I thought that was a great idea, because looking at the communities that we might be in, well, it may be a similar circumstance. We may be in a community or a crew, and there's no hospitals, there's no doctors, there's no drugstores, and we're out in the field somewhere and we get an injury or a wound. Well, we want to control infection, and of course we want to mitigate some pain. And so what I envision is that, you, me, I'm going to seriously look into this, is create our own combat wound packs, so that when we injure ourselves, we immediately take them to help us combat infection. Because when you're in a place where you can't be treated and an infection sets in, it could kill you. A simple infection could kill you because you can't get any advanced treatment. So if you start off right from the back taking a pack, a combat wound pack, then you're kind of at an advantage or a little bit of a head start. So, think about that. And again, it's meloxicam or Mobic, it's acetaminophen or Tylenol, and it's moxifloxacin or Avalox. And we may not be able to get the broad spectrum antibiotic, but you may be able to find something else that you could substitute for that will still help you to survive. And that's what we're trying to do. All right, well, this was take 3. I hope I got it this time. Again, Viking Training Task 4, if you didn't see it, go over the Viking preparedness. It's a great thing that gets you thinking. Like I said, I'm sorry I can't participate much, but I'm busy doing other stuff right now, but it did get me thinking. So, one of the important things you do in your preparedness is think in your head what you need to do. And so, but anyhow, if you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button. Love to have you. Like to hear your comments. I have a small community, but I keep putting out what I can, and hopefully in the future I'll be able to put out some more content. Right now I'm just kind of busy with the move. So you all stay safe and stay secure, and we'll see you.